Welcome to Lesson 1 of Introduction to Financial Stability, Building a Budget. This course is a family life education course built to educate families on becoming more financially stable. This is not a solution for everyone, but a good breakdown of a beginner way to budget. I'm not a financial advisor. During this lesson, we will break down our spending, discuss living within our means, and discuss the different ways to track our spending. First, we will watch a short video that talks about the impact of marriage on finances.
How much does the person that you fall in love with have an impact on your finances, your money, your chance of success, in your view?
It's everything. The thing is, that partnership, and this is what people don't get about marriage. Marriage is a business. I know people go nuts when I say that, but it's a business. And the first child you're going to have is money. It's going to be the first child, and it's going to sit at the table with you every day. If you don't have money, you don't have a marriage. I mean, the reason people get married is to form a form of financial stability so that they can afford a family. And you have to figure out, I've been with my wife a long time, and we've been separated for a couple of years, but family is very important to me. So we got back together again, and our daughter got us back together, and we're very happy we did it. But we make financial decisions together. And so that's why a great marriage can work, because you build it together. You really care about it. You care about your family. You also care about what you've created in wealth.
So, what is a budget? It's a financial plan of your income and expenses over a specific period of time. A budget helps understand money and where it is going. Why should we budget? It's to build a secure financial future, to reduce financial strain on a relationship, increase financial independence, and understand mindfulness of our needs versus our wants. When starting a budget, we first have to look at our past spending habits. We have to review the past month's incomes and expenses, create planned amount of income and expenses, combine past month's spending with planned amount to see how our budget went. We will create SMART goals and answer questions regarding those goals. Looking back is an important part of budgeting. When we look back on a previous month's spending to create a budget, we get a better assessment into where our money is going. And we have to break it down into different categories to create a better rounded budget. I have a blank budget document on the Building Family Connection website, as well as in the description of this video. This is a good way to introduce budgeting if you do not have another way to track your spending. I want to note that you need to make a copy of this document. If you start typing on this document, it will change the document for everybody. So if you go into Google Slides and you create a copy for yourself, you can then start adding information onto that slide. Budgeting is all about finding what works best for your family. So if this does not work well for you, find another way and stick to that. Adding something new can be overwhelming and can prevent the budget from benefiting you and your family. So make sure you find something that is most beneficial for your family in tracking your spending. When we look at our spending, we have different areas that we can control and ones that we can't. When we need to note all these different areas. So we first have our income, our money gained. Sometimes that's a fixed income. Sometimes it's an adjustable income. So those are good to track. We have fixed expenses. These do not change month to month. And then we have the adjustable expenses. These do change each month, the amount. So coming up with a a roundabout amount of how much you spend on these will be important when you're creating your budget. First, we will put in our planned income, what we would like to spend. As we fill out the chart of what we have spent, it will fill in the actual amount. Or you can fill that in if you have a different tracking system. And then that will show you the difference of how much you have left or how much you went over spending. And this will give you a good introduction in as you've looked at your past month to see where your money is really going. On the Military OneSource link that I put here, that will also be down in the description below and on the website, it breaks down the different areas of how you can read your pay stub to learn what your fixed income is and what income changes each month. Being in the military, you get different benefits, and those can change your income each month. Next, we will talk about the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income should be put towards your needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% of it towards your savings. This will help you create a more rounded budget. So now we're going to talk about SMART goals. SMART goals are simple. These are goals that should be clearly defined as specific, not general. They ask what needs to be accomplished, who is responsible. M is for measurable. This goal must have concrete criteria to measure progress. You can ask, how will I know when the goal is accomplished? And A is for achievable or attainable. This goal should be realistic and attainable, stretching capabilities, but remaining possible. R is for relevant and realistic. The goal should matter to you or align with broader long-term business or personal strategies. And T is for time-bound. Goals need to have a deadline or a specific amount of time and time frame for completion. I have an example of a goal here. To save $250 a month into an emergency fund for 20 months until I have $5,000 in my emergency fund. I'm going to change my shopping habits to grocery shopping each week and household items and clothing every other week, spending less in the stores, less time having that temptation to buy more things. And that would be an example of what a SMART goal could look like. We will watch a video explaining more detail into SMART goals.
Regardless if it is professional or personal, we all struggle sometimes to achieve our goals. Many times our struggle is not because of a lack of effort, but rather how our goals have been structured. Anytime you set a goal, or if you find yourself struggling while working towards a goal, keep in mind the word SMART. SMART is an acronym that can be used to help evaluate and add structure to your goals. SMART stands for specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time-bound. SMART begins with asking yourself the degree to which a goal is specific. This is arguably the most important part of establishing or evaluating a goal. The less specific a goal, the more difficult it is to determine how long the goal should take to complete or how to measure success. Consider the difference between a goal to get healthy versus the goal to lose weight versus the goal to lose 10 pounds. The goal to get healthy is much less specific than a goal to lose 10 pounds. The next question to ask: how is the goal measured? What determines success? Some goals may be best measured by a simple yes or no, such as the goal of climbing to the top of a mountain, while other goals are better measured by using metrics such as the goal to lose 10 pounds. The key to measurement is making sure that in whatever way the goal is measured, it accurately reflects success. For instance, if you do not have access to a scale, then measuring weight loss will be difficult and less accurate. An alternative measure may be to track how many inches you have lost around the waist. But to what extent does this accurately reflect the goal? Without access to a reliable way of measuring weight, we may want to consider buying a scale or restructuring our goal. Actionable is not asking yes or no, but how will the goal be achieved? What is our action plan? Do we have the resources and capabilities required to achieve success? If not, what are we lacking? Well-designed goals provide clarity of action. If the actions required to achieve a goal are unclear, or there are a large number of actions that need to be taken, we should consider breaking down the main goal into manageable, actionable sub-goals. In isolation, any single goal is relevant, but in life, we most often are in the process of pursuing multiple goals. A common issue we face is having too many goals at the same time or pursuing the wrong goals. With this in mind, we need a mechanism to help us monitor our goals to make sure we are pursuing our most relevant goals at any given moment in time. One technique is to place goals in a matrix that looks at effort required versus perceived value of achieving the goal. Not always, but most of the time we will want to focus our energy on low-effort, high-value goals. Another technique is to use the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. Ask, which are the 20% of goals that will provide me with 80% of my return? The last thing we want to make sure is that goals are time-bound. By including a specific date by which a goal should be accomplished, it helps provide incentive and allows us to monitor progress. Consider the difference between the goal to lose 10 pounds and the goal to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks. Simply by including an element of time, we can now calculate how much we should be losing each week, and if after 5 weeks we have only lost 1 pound, we can revisit our action plan. Be wary of any goal that is open-ended, such as the common goal to learn a foreign language. Last, it is important to reinforce that goal setting is not an event. It is an ongoing process of action, evaluation, and revision. It is not about lowering goals or standards to ensure success. It is about recognizing goals are dynamic because life is dynamic. We do not live in a static world. Life happens. A goal that is relevant today may be irrelevant tomorrow. When using SMART, stay flexible and motivated by setting aside time to reevaluate your goals on a regular basis.
So, as it talked about reevaluating our goals, when we create a budget, it's important to take time to reflect. And this helps us have feedback where we are struggling. What did work? What didn't work? It helps us to adapt our budget to have the most benefit. There are some questions in the budget that I've created that will allow you to have that time to reflect and grow in your budgeting habits. Living within our means is an important step into building financial stability. If we are always living above our means, we are taking away our freedom and increasing our debt. When we are living below our means significantly, it can prevent us from taking opportunities to grow. We'll watch a video talking about living within our means.
The secret to a good financial life is simply this: whatever you make, spend less than that. That is literally all you gotta do to be in a good financial situation, and this simple concept is called living below your means. And in this video, I want to share 12 easy ways that you can live below your means and save more money. And the first way is focus more on what you spend rather than what you make. Now, the biggest thing that holds people back financially is that they spend so much time focusing on how much money they're making and very little time on how much money they're spending. And the reason that holds people back financially is because we don't have tons of control over how much money we make, but we do have a lot of control over how much money we spend. The truth about money is that it is very hard to make a dollar. I mean, I can tell you a handful of ways to do it, but it is very easy to save a dollar. I can tell you hundreds of ways to do it. And so, one easy way to live below your means and save more money is, instead of focusing on how much money you're making, focus more on how much money you're spending, because you'll actually make progress that way. Now, the second way is start viewing money as time. Another easy way to live below your means and save more money is to change your mindset on money and start viewing money as time. Because that's all money is. I mean, if you make $20 an hour, that $20 represents 1 hour of your time. And so if you go out and buy $20 of things you'll never use, you're basically throwing away 1 hour of your time. Whenever you are about to spend money, ask yourself the question, is this $20 item worth 1 hour of my time? And obviously adjust it to how much money you're making. But when you ask yourself this question and start viewing your money as time, you'll end up making better decisions and respect your money a lot more, because we all respect our time. Now, the third way is know your numbers. Another key to being in a good financial situation is creating a budget and tracking all of your expenses. And in addition to having a physical or digital copy of your budget, it's important to know certain numbers related to your budget off the top of your head, like your income, your expenses for necessities, your disposable income, your checking account balance, and your emergency fund balance. When you know all those numbers off the top of your head, you're going to make much better financial decisions and you won't overspend your money. Now, the fourth way is know when more doesn't make you happier. Now, spending more money can increase your happiness, but only up to a certain point. For example, for me, eating out 2 times a week will increase my happiness because I won't have the hassle of cooking. However, eating out every day won't increase my happiness as drastically because now it's just normal. The key to sustainable financial life is making sure that you're not depriving yourself, in knowing when more increases your happiness, but also knowing when to stop, when more no longer increases your happiness. And when you know that point and know when to stop, you're less likely to overspend and more likely to live below your means. Now, the fifth way is treat treats as treats. Now, to expand on this idea, the reason your happiness increases here when you spend more is because you're treating yourself to something special. However, the reason it stops increasing your happiness is because it stops being a treat and becomes normal. And so it's important to treat treats as treats. Only do things on occasion, because once something becomes normal, you stop appreciating it. But when you treat treats as treats, you'll live below your means and you'll appreciate these special things in life more. Now, the sixth way is be weird. There's a quote by Dave Ramsey that goes, "Be weird or be broke." And what he means by that is that you can be normal or broke, where you're living above your means and having financial problems, or you can be weird and live below your means but be in a good financial situation. The average normal person that lives above their means is broke and has many financial problems. And so it's much better to just be weird, live below your means, and have a much better relationship with money. Now, the seventh way is think more. Now, a huge thing that gets people in bad financial situations is simply not thinking. I mean, think about the last time that you went to Target. There's so many people walking around with no idea what they're going to buy and end up leaving the store spending hundreds of dollars on useless stuff. People dig themselves in bad financial situations simply because they're not thinking. But when you think more, whenever you're spending your money, naturally you're going to spend less and save more. Naturally, you're going to live below your means. Now, the eighth way is surround yourself with like minded people. A lot of our spending decisions are influenced by who we surround ourselves with. And if you surround yourself with very materialistic people who spend all their money shopping, you will become a materialistic person who spends all your money shopping. But on the other hand, if you surround yourself with down to earth people who find joy in the simple things, you will spend less money. You are who you surround yourself with. And if you surround yourself with like-minded people who want to live below their means, chances are you will live below your means and save money. Now, the next way is take advantage of all the free things in the world. Another easy way to live below your means is just to take advantage of all the free things in the world. And there are so many free things nowadays. You can get books from the library, entertainment from YouTube, events from city festivals, exercise from parks, and love from your puppy. There are so many free things in the world, and if you take advantage of them, you will spend less money and live below your means. Now, the 10th way is spend your own money instead of the bank's money. An interesting thing about our spending habits is that the less somebody works for money, the less they respect the money. For example, when somebody borrows money from the bank, they will spend it carelessly on a bunch of things. They won't respect the money as much because it's not their money. However, when people work hard for their money, they are more cautious when they spend it. And many people live above their means because the money that they're spending is the bank's money and they don't respect it because they didn't work for it. Instead of being in the habit of always spending the bank's money, be in the habit of spending your own hard-earned money. Because when you only spend your money, you respect your money a lot more, think through your decisions, and ultimately spend less and live below your means. Now, the 11th way is stop seeking external validation. A huge thing that causes people to live above their means is seeking external validation from other people. I mean, I think that many people get nice cars, big houses, and nice possessions simply because they want approval from others. But the truth is, nobody cares about your possessions. Everyone has their own issues in life. If you want nice things, get nice things, but don't get nice things just because you want external validation from other people, because other people don't care what you have. And when you don't see external validation, you naturally spend less and live below your means. Now, the final way is increase your income. The final way to live below your means is to increase your income. And this isn't easy, but the more you increase your income, the more you can live a good quality of life without sacrificing anything and still having a high savings rate. For example, a salary of $3,500 a month might allow you to live a comfortable life and save a little, but a salary of $5,000 a month can afford you the same comfortable lifestyle, but you'll be able to save more. It's much easier said than done, but if you can increase your income, it's much easier to live below your means just because you're working with more money. And you can increase your income by asking for a raise, getting a side hustle, or starting a business. And again, it's much easier said than done, but increasing your income is the easiest way to live below your means while still having a high quality of life.
So, as we stay on budget, we will be able to plan for the unexpected. We will be able to use our available resources. We will only spend the money that we have. We will be able to save money for the unexpected, grow a retirement fund for the future, and save for the deployments or PCSing season that come with military lifestyle. So, during this week, I would like you to create a budget using your past month expenses. Hold an executive council meeting with your spouse to discuss the budget and create a plan together on how you're going to track your spending for the next month and how you're going to stay on budget. Thank you for attending Building a Budget, the lesson 1 of the Introduction to Financial Stability course.